Hello everyone, this is John Hashmet and welcome to Physics Simply. In this video I will be solving the paper 2 exam for October-November 2022, variant 1. So let's get started. Question 1 says, which measuring instrument is used to measure the diameter of a thin metal wire? We need a very accurate measuring device, which would be a screw gauge micrometer. So the answer is D. Question 2 says, a car starts from rest. The table shows the readings from its speed meter every 10 seconds. Which row describes the car's motion in the first 30 seconds and the last 30 seconds? So in the last 30 seconds, that's constant speed. So either B or D. But in the first 30 seconds, the speed increases by 4 every 10 seconds. That's constant acceleration. So non-zero acceleration is okay. Zero acceleration is not okay, non-zero also okay. So the answer is D. Question 3 says, which property of an object is a consequence of the effect of gravitational field acting on it? That would be the weight, which is a gravitational force. Question 4 says, the diagram shows the dimensions of a solid rectangular block of metal of mass m. Which expression is used to calculate the density? So density is equal to mass divided by volume, and here we can calculate the volume by multiplying these dimensions by each other. So it's mass divided by P multiplied by Q multiplied by R. So the answer is B. Question 5 says, a wheelbarrow has a weight W of 140 newtons. Which vertical force F is needed to support the wheelbarrow in the position shown? So supporting means making it not move or rotate. So by considering this point to be the pivot, we need to calculate the distances from the pivot. So we have this distance for the weight, which creates a clockwise moment, and the whole distance to force F, which creates an anti-clockwise moment. Then we can use the principle of moments. Clockwise moments is equal to anti-clockwise moments. So the force W, which is 140, multiplied by its distance, which is 1.4 minus 0.8, that gives 0.6, is equal to the unknown force F multiplied by the whole distance, which is 1.4. Then we divide by 1.4 to make F the subject of the formula. That would give an answer of 60, so the answer is A. Question 6 says, a car is traveling around a circular track at a constant speed as shown. In which direction is the resultant force acting on the car? So for any object moving in a circle, the resultant force must be towards the center of the circle. So the answer is B. Question 7 says, the diagram shows part of a hose used by a firefighter. 15 kilograms of water flows through the hose each second. So we have time and we have mass. Which force is applied to the hose by the water? So we have the input speed is 1 meter per second and the output speed is 6 meters per second. So we have initial velocity and we have final velocity. We can use the equation force equals to the rate of change of momentum, or equal to mass times change in velocity over time. So we have the mass 15, then we multiply by 6 minus 1 divided by the 1 second. That gives an answer of 75 newtons, which gives B as an answer. Question 8 says, brakes are used to slow down a moving car. Into which form of energy most of the kinetic energy converted as the car slows down? It's not chemical, it's not elastic, since nothing deforms. Thermal energy is the most form. Sound sometimes is released or converted to sound, and some energy is converted to sound, but not all the time. So most of the energy is converted to thermal energy or heat energy. Question 9 says, an object has kinetic energy of 200 joules. A constant resultant force of 100 newton is applied in the direction of its motion. In the direction of its motion, this means that the kinetic energy will increase through a distance of 10 meters. What is the final kinetic energy? So we can use the equation that the change in energy is equal to the work done. So the change in kinetic energy is equal to the force multiplied by the distance. So the final energy, which is required, minus the initial energy, which was 200, is equal to the force 190 multiplied by 10. Then we move the 200 to the other side by addition. So we have 1900 plus 200, that gives an answer of 2100 joules. So the answer is D. Question 10 says, the statements describe what happens when the power of a machine is increased? The work done in a given time decreases. No, it should increase if the power is increased. The work done in a given time increases. Yes. The time taken to do a given quantity of work decreases. Yes. The time taken to do a given quantity of work decreases. No. So the answer is 2 and 3. So the answer is C. Question 11 is about manometers, which was removed from the new syllabus, so you can skip this question. It says a manometer containing water is used to measure the pressure of a gas supply as shown. The density of water is 1000 kilograms per meter cubed. What is the pressure of the gas supply? So we can use the change in height between the two levels in the manometer as H in the equation pressure equal rho GH. So we have density 1000, G is 9.8, and H is the difference between 40 and 10, that's 30 centimeters, but we convert it to meters, so it's 0.30. This gives an answer of 2940, that's approximately 3000 Pascal. But the gas is pressing more on this side than the atmosphere, so it's higher than the atmosphere. So it's 3000 Pascal above atmospheric pressure, so the answer is C. Question 12 says a fixed mass of gas is trapped in a container. The temperature of the gas increases, but the volume of the gas is kept constant. How does this change affect the average kinetic energy of the molecules? So as temperature increases, the kinetic energy should increase. So it's either A or C. And the pressure on the walls of the containers, when molecules move faster, they collide harder with the walls of the container, and the rate of collision increases. So the pressure should also increase. So the answer is A. Question 13 says, which row correctly describes boiling and evaporation? In boiling, bubbles are seen since the whole liquid turns into gas at the same time. Evaporation occurs at the surface only, not through the whole liquid. So the answer is A. Question 14 is about thermometers, which was removed from the new syllabus, so you can skip this question. It says the diagram shows a liquid and glass thermometer. Which change increases the sensitivity of the thermometer? So a narrower capillary tube would increase the sensitivity, so the answer is A. Wider capillary tube decreases sensitivity. Thicker glass does not affect sensitivity. Thinner glass also does not affect sensitivity. Question 15 is also about thermometers, so you can skip this question too. It says the diagram shows a liquid and glass thermometer with a uniform capillary tube. Which temperature is indicated by the thermometer? Here we have from the 0 degrees Celsius to the 100 degrees Celsius, we have 88 millimeters minus 8. So 80 millimeters represents 100 degrees Celsius. That's called a linear scale. Then we have from the 0 degrees Celsius to the required temperature, that's 64 millimeters. So we do cross multiplication, 64 times 100, then we divide by 80. That gives an answer of 80 degrees Celsius, so the answer is B. Question 16 says 4 thermometers with their bulbs painted different colors are placed at equal distances from the radiant heater. Which thermometer shows the slowest temperature rise when the heater is first switched on? So slowest temperature rise means that's slowest amount of radiation emitted, so a poor emitter surface. That would be the shiny white surface. Question 17 says a wave source produces 3000 crests every minute. So we have number of waves and we have time, which is equal to 60 seconds. The wave has a speed of 300 meters per second. We have speed. What is the wavelength? Wavelength is equal to speed divided by frequency, and frequency is equal to number of waves, which was 3000 divided by time, which was 60. So we have frequency of 50. Then we calculate the wavelength as 300, which was the speed, divided by 50. That gives an answer of 6 meters. So the answer is C. Question 18 says the diagrams show 2 sets of wavefronts in a ripple tank. A student makes 2 statements about the waves. When the waves reflect from the barrier, the direction changes, but the wavelength remains the same. That's correct. When the waves refract as they enter the shallow water, the direction remains the same. No, because the direction is not perpendicular to the boundary between the 2 sections of the ripple tank or the 2 media. So the direction should change. So the second statement is wrong. Which statements are correct? Statement 1 and 2, statement 1 only, yes, so the answer is B. Question 19 says a composite block is made by joining together three transparent materials. The diagram shows a ray of light passing through the composite block. Which list gives the three materials in order of the speeds of light in the materials? So as speed increases, the angle from the normal increases. So we need to draw normals at the boundaries between the media. So the largest angle is at 3, the next one is at 1, and the smallest angle is at 2. So this is the highest speed, this is the lowest speed, and this is the moderate speed. So we need to list them from slowest to fastest. So it's 2, then 1, then 3, so the answer is C. Question 20 says an object is placed 30 centimeters in front of a plane mirror. Which statement describes the image of the object? The image is the same size, that's correct. It's not smaller, so neither C nor D. And is 30 centimeters from the object or 60 centimeters from the object? It is 30 centimeters from the mirror, not from the object. So we have the mirror in the middle, and the object is 30 centimeters away. And the image is 30 centimeters away from the mirror, so the total distance between the image and the object is actually 60, so the answer is B. Question 21 says a ray of light is shown onto as the surface of a mirror. Which two angles represent the angle of incidence and the angle of reflection? These angles are measured from the normal line, so the angles are 2 and 3. So the answer is C. Question 22 says the speed of sound in air is 330 meters per second. How do the speeds of sound in concrete, which is a solid, and water, which is a liquid, compare with this speed? They are both greater. In liquid is faster than in gas, and in solids faster than in liquids and in gas, so both greater, so the answer is A. Question 23 says what is the speed of microwaves in air? Microwaves are electromagnetic waves, so they all travel with the same speed, which is the speed of light, 3 times 10 to the power of 8, but the unit is meters per second, so the answer is C. Question 24 says an observer stands at the finish line of a 100-meter race. He wants to time the winner's run. He starts his stopwatch as soon as he sees the smoke from the starting gun instead of when he hears a bang. What is the reason for doing this? Is it because light travels much faster than sound? Yes. So there would technically be almost 0 time between seeing and actual time when the gun was fired. There is a risk he might respond to an echo. No. Humans react slower to sound than light. React more quickly. No. All the other sentences are wrong, so the answer is A. Question 25 says which statement is not a method for magnetizing an iron bar? Placing the bar next to a magnet, that's called induction, so that would magnetize the bar. Place the bar inside a solenoid, switch on an alternating current in the coil and gradually reduce the current. That's actually a method of demagnetizing, so the answer is B. Placing the bar inside the solenoid and switching on a DC current that magnetizes the bar. Stroking the bar also magnetizes the bar, so the answer is B. Question 26 says the diagram shows a circuit containing a variable resistor connected to a variable power supply. The table shows currents for different values of the potential difference and the resistance. What is the order of currents from smallest to largest? So we need to calculate current, which is equal to potential difference divided by resistance. So we divide the left-hand column by the right-hand column or the middle column. Then we get the currents, 3.6 divided by 12, that gives 0.3. 1.2 divided by 12, that gives 0.1. 3.6 divided by 6, that gives 0.6. So the smallest one is this one, I2, then I1, then I3. So the answer would be C. Question 27 says which diagram shows the electric field pattern around a positive charge? So a positive charge would emit a radially outward electric field, because when you place any positive charge next to a positive charge, it is repelled away. Question 28 says a negatively charged plastic rod P is placed above a positively charged rod plastic Q. What are the direction of the electrostatic forces on rod P and Q? That would be attraction, so this would want to go down and this one would want to go up. So the force on P is downwards and the force on Q is upwards, so the answer is B. Question 29 says a lamp rated 12 volts to ampere is switched on for 1 minute. That's a time of 60 seconds. How much energy is transferred by the lamp? So energy is equal to VIT, or power multiplied by time, and power is equal to VI or IV. So we multiply 12 by 2, then by 60. That gives an answer of 1440. So the answer is D. Question 30 says an alternating current power supply is connected in series with a resistor and a diode, one diode. Which graph shows how the voltage V across the resistor R varies with time? So one diode would cause half wave rectification, so the answer is C, since half the time the current is not conducted in the circuit. Question 31 says a student makes 4 resistors using different pieces of wire. The wires have different diameters and length. All pieces of wire are made from the same material. Which piece of wire will make the resistor has the largest resistance? So largest resistance means smallest area, so smallest diameter, and the longest length, so the answer is B. Question 32 says which diagram shows a circuit containing a battery, a fuse, and a buzzer? So this is not a fuse, this is not a buzzer, that's a bell. This is a fuse, this is not a buzzer, that's a bell. This is a fuse and this is a buzzer, so the answer is D. Also, this is not a fuse, that's a light dependent resistor. Question 33 is about logic gates, so you can skip it for the new syllabus. It says the diagram shows a network of logic gates. Which single logic gate placed between X, Y, and out would have the same effect as the network? So we can try the truth table 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1, and we see the output. So 0 would be turned into 1s, 1 and 1 into an OR gate that gives 1. 0 and 1, one of them would be 1, so the OR gate would also give 1. These two would give 1. The last one, the inputs 1 would be reversed by the NOT gate, so 0 and 0 into an OR gate would give a 0. That's the opposite of an AND gate, so this is an NAND gate, so the answer is D. Question 34 says the diagram represents a transformer. Which row shows the materials suitable for making the core and the primary coil? So the core must be magnetic or a soft magnetic material, which is iron. The primary coil and the secondary coil must be good conductors of electricity, so copper, which is better than iron, by the way, and most definitely better than plastic, because plastic is a poor conductor. So the answer is A. Question 35 says the diagrams show the magnetic field lines around the wire carrying a current I. Which diagrams are correct? So we have 4 currents, some of them pointing upwards and some of them pointing downwards. They all form circular magnetic fields and all have the distance increasing, so the pattern getting weaker going outwards, but the direction must be determined. So using the right hand grip rule, so if the current is going downwards, the magnetic field should be pointing clockwise. If the current is going upwards, the magnetic field should be pointing anti-clockwise. So diagram 1 is actually correct and diagram 3 is correct. So the answer is 1 and 3, making it D. Question 36 says which statement about electromagnetic induction is correct? A conductor moving parallel to the magnetic field lines induces an electromotive force. No, not moving parallel, across to cut the magnetic field. The direction of the induced electromotive force opposes the change which produces it. Yes, that is called Lenz's law. The induced current is in a direction parallel to the direction of motion. No, it's perpendicular to the direction of motion. The induced electromotive force decreases when the speed of the conducting or the conductor moving across the field increases. No, that would increase the rate of change of flux, so not D, so the answer is B. Question 37 says a very important experiment increases scientists' understanding of the structure of matter. In this experiment, particles scattered as they pass through a thin metal foil. Which particles were used? That was alpha particles in the experiment, directed towards a gold foil. And to which conclusion did the experiment lead? Matter is made up of atoms. No, that concept was already thought of before the experiment. So atoms have a very small nucleus is 1. So the answer is B. Question 38 says polonium PO has a proton number equal to 84 and the nucleon number equal to 218. Polonium changes into acetine 80 by emitting a beta particle. Which equation represents this decay? So the beta particle should be after the arrow at the end of the reaction or the end of the decay. And we have this should be the upper number, so it's not A. So the answer is C. Question 39 says, shows how the count rate from a radioactive isotope changes with time. What is the half-life of the isotope? So we need the first reading, then we divide it by 2. It's in the middle between 52 and 54. I'm gonna make it 52. Then we divide that by 2. That gives an answer of 26. So at 26, we have a time approximately 2. If we look at the choices, we have 2. So the answer is A. Question 40 says, what is the nature of alpha emissions? Is it an electromagnetic wave? No. It is a negatively charged particle? No. It is positively charged? Yes, because it has 2 protons and 2 neutrons. Uncharged? No, because of the protons. So the answer is C. So this was the end of the exam. I hope you found this video useful to you, and I will see you in another video.